In this video, we are going to start to fill out our menu page. And what we'll do in our menu page is basically have a table with different menu items on it. Let's get started. Let's open up the menu. I'm going to make a menu.css as well. Just bring over some of the coloring from the home page. Add the menu CSS here. Close down this. Make a header. All right. And then let's get started on making our table. I'm going to add our inner box to get us started with some just that beginning CSS, and just write a paragraph saying, here are our menu items. So I might even make this an H3 or something. Remembering to change the closing tag as well. Let's take a look. Okay, so we have that. That looks fine. Let's get started with our table then. So to make a table, we actually have a table tag that we will use. And there are two parts to the table. We'll use the table head, the T head, and the table body, T body. So we have two sections there. Now, nothing's going to show up, so we need to decide what we want our table to look like. I'm envisioning we're going to have a bunch of items. So maybe we want the item's name, its price, and maybe its ingredients. So essentially we're going to have 3 columns in the table. To do that, let's go in the table head to start. We're going to have 3 columns, and they're going to be in one row. To create a row in a table, we're going to use the tag tr, like this. So tr initializes the row that we're going to put the header items in. Now for each of the items itself, we'll use a th tag. These are basically just like a table head section. Our 3 we're going to use are name. What else do we say? Price. And ingredients. Let's save that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so basically just a section here. So maybe we want this a little bigger. Maybe we want to increase the font size. Let's open up the menu CSS. Or sorry, not menu, but no, it's menu. Menu.css. Let's make some changes to our table. I think we could do just table font size. So 20 pixels. Let's see how that looks for now. Okay, getting a little better. We don't really have like a way to see the columns or rows, so I'm just going to add a border for now. And we might want to add borders around the columns and rows, but for now I'm just going to add a border around the table. So do border, 2 pixels, solid black. Okay. We'll look at doing the columns and rows in a little bit. So far we have just the head section. Let's also do the body. So this is where we're going to put instances of these name, price, and ingredients. Let's do one row to start. So in the table body, let's do a tr for table row. And then when we're in the table body, we'll use tds for basically table items. So we're going to go think about our 3 things: name, price, and ingredients. Let's just start with coffee. That's the name. And then we do a price, say $2.45. And then in ingredients, coffee beans. Let's see how this looks. Okay. Doesn't look quite like a table, but at least everything's kind of in line. Maybe let's do this 2 or 3 more times. Let's get 2 or 3 more rows. you could copy and paste this TR 2 or 3 more times. Let's do espresso. Let's make that a little cheaper. Coffee beans, let's just say, and hot water, just to make it different. What else do you have? Tea. Let's make the tea expensive for some reason. I'll just say tea leaves. And we'll save it. We'll refresh it. Okay. And now we kind of have the starting point for our table. So let's do a little bit with CSS. First thing we might want to do is add a border around the individual sections. To do so, we need to not only add a border around the whole table itself, but we want to have borders around each individual piece. These pieces are the TDs and the THs. So we want to add a border to both these things. To do that, in CSS, we can write TD, comma, TH. This means apply the same CSS to both the THs and the TDs. And then let's do a border. Why don't we, at this point, start using our colors? Let's just do var. Let's do the gunmetal. And let's do solid. I'll do the same thing around. Actually, let's omit this for now, because I think we're going to see this individual, the individual cells basically creating a border. Let's look. Let's give it a little refresh. Okay. And now we have bordering around each individual thing. But it's a little messy. You can see that there's like these separations here. There's these gaps. And that's a default property. We can adjust that though. To adjust it, we're going to use a property on the table as a whole. So in the table, we are going to use border collapse. By default, this is set to separate. It means it like separates all the cells a little bit. But if you do collapse, it pushes them all together. So if I go back here and refresh, now we have kind of a normal table layout. I don't know why they don't do this as the default, but they choose separate for some reason. Okay, what else is going on? Everything's pretty squished. Let's add a little padding here. We can do that in the cells, probably. If we do it outside in the table, it probably won't look as good. Let's give it a little padding in each of the cells. Let's do 20 pixels. Let's go a little bigger here. Maybe increase the font size just a smidge to like 24 or something. Okay, that's looking a little better. We also might want to change the background color. Maybe we want a separate background color for the head and for the body. So let's try that. For the T head, let's do a background color. Let's do our var. Maybe we want this. We use powder blue. Let's go with the first blue up there, the yin blue. I'll do color var. I'll use the burnt sienna. And then for the table body, I'm going to use a background color var. Let's just do the light cyan. Let's see how that looks. Okay. And now it's looking quite a bit better. We kind of have our nice orientation here. Maybe not blending super well with the background color, but we have our table at least looking a little bit better formatted. The last thing we might want to do is center this table here. We have a property called text align that centers many things, such as the text, but it doesn't appear to center our table. To do that, we can actually even out the margins on both sides. A fast way to do so is just to write in the table itself, in its CSS, margin auto. You can go over here, click refresh, and now it is in the middle. And so now we kind of have our table nicely displayed. If you wanted to add another row, you could always just go back to the HTML, Just copy one of these. Let's add, what else are at coffee shops? Let's just do like a pastry, $3. I'll just say like flour and sugar, etc. And then when you refresh this, now you can just add a row like that. Okay, and so that is how we develop tables, and also how you can incorporate a little CSS to make your table look a little nicer.